are we excited for Madden 21? So, what do you think?
Yeah. Uh, I have very mixed feelings about this game. Um, I don't even know where to start. I did you play? Did you play the beta?
No,
You didn't play the beta,
I
so I
figured it would
did.
just be the same game since that's pretty much since they didn't change anything to franchise and they definitely didn't add anything new in the week or two since they said that they were going to change something. So
Right.
I figured it was some
Um,
worth playing.
and we probably shouldn't be expecting anything new.
Right.
It's I feel like it's probably too late to add anything. As far as the game goes in general, it's I mean the gameplay is definitely going in the right direction. I think I like what they did with the open field tackling where it's timing now. Same thing with the jukes. You know, I can't juke super late and still get the animation where you just automatically juke out the defender. I definitely like how it's more user based than not per se. Uh, as far as the X factors go, they're going to be there. It sounds like it's going to be a part of Madden for years to come now, since they like this idea. Um, Madden 21 in general, I'm not too thrilled with dropping another $60 for this game. If I'm being honest, I don't have good hopes for this game. Granted, being a part of MSPA really helps my excitement for the game. I feel like being in this community really really helps out with that. So I don't know. I don't want to be negative about it, but there's just not too much to be positive about. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I'm definitely the same way. Dude, I swear they've been this is one thing I'm a little bit disappointed about. I swear they've been promising cross-platform for like the past 2 years, and
Right.
it's still not out on this Madden. I mean, maybe they're just gonna do it for next gen, hopefully. But I'd really enjoy to not have to have an Xbox just to play Madden, since that's the only game I use it for. Uh, but yeah, as far as Madden 21, I really sad that they just decided not to do anything with franchise mode. Um, hopefully all our complaining on Twitter and shit will coax them into doing something at least for Madden 22 on the next gen console. Uh, which I just realized better be cross-platform because I'm probably not going to get a next gen console if I'm being honest. I have nothing to play on Xbox besides Madden. So, if it's not PC crossplay next Madden, I realize I'm probably not going to be in the league or be able to be in the league. So that might be a little disappointing actually. But if the gameplay seems smoother, that's at least a plus because I mean the gameplay is really what frustrates most players while they're playing. It makes what most
Right.
players decide to leave, quit, like all the blocking AI that's just terrible, the receiver DB interactions, all that shit. It sounds like they did a lot with like the running animations, which I didn't, or at least like the juking and shit. But I
Well,
didn't think that was that big of a deal, to be
running
honest.
running in Madden 21 will not be nearly as ridiculous as it was this year. Like it was super easy to run this year. I mean it was I've never I don't think there's been a Madden as run heavy as the one we had this year. I don't think there has been.
I see. I Everyone said that, and then and then I'm out here still struggling to run this entire Madden. I'm so bad at running apparently that everyone else finds it easy to just get 3,000 yards with their 80 overall running backs, and I can't even run for 50 yards. Like I find it hard to even get to 15 carries a game sometimes because it's just so difficult for me to run that I have to pass all the time. I don't. I mean, I've heard that at least that like dives and stretches are just broken and they can be easily abused. So
Oh, absolutely.
maybe
Yeah.
it's because I try to avoid using those as much just because I heard they're broken, so I don't like using them. Although the playbook I have now has a shit ton of dives, like every single formation has a dive, so I feel kind of bad using it, but whatever. I still can't run like half the time. I still can't even get 3 yards of carries half the time using dives. Like, but whatever. It's I wish they would. Did they release anything about the O line blocking this year? Because that is the single-handedly the thing that frustrates me the most in Madden,
Well,
hands down.
as as far as blocking goes, they I guess sort of. Did you hear about the new pass rushing mechanics with the like the new moves? If you're wanting to use with the D line,
Oh
um,
god.
you have to be more precise with your timing. You didn't hear anything about that?
No, because no one uses the D line, and I
R-
also haven't looked or like hunted out Madden 21 information. But
okay.
if it's just about
Um,
using the D line, that's kind of sad. But
well, they like added stuff to where when you're doing like a finesse move or a power move, it's a lot more time like user based. Like I said earlier, a lot of it's about timing. But the what mixes the offensive line in this new mechanic, um, I'm sorry, what you can, what am I trying to say? Basic, all I'm going to say is the offensive line, if they get beat on a move, a specific move, they learn what that move is, and they'll have like a little bar underneath the underneath the offensive lineman, so that every time they face that pass rusher, they would know that move, and they would eventually progress to where it's harder to keep doing that same move over and over again. Does that make sense?
yeah, no. That makes a lot of sense. No, and I
Okay.
think that's a phenomenal feature. But is it only for user rushes, or do they learn off CPU versus CPU? Like, because
No,
that'd be a
they learn
phenomenal
they learn
feature.
off of CPU as well.
So
They
okay,
they
so if
it,
no one's
yeah,
using the D line, then it
right.
your tackle will start
They
learning.
will still learn. Yep.
Oh, that's phenomenal, dude. That's great. I love that feature. I mean, hopefully it doesn't just get like kind of abused. Like pass rushing will be just like useless in the fourth quarter and broke in the first quarter or something. But
I don't think anybody will be using the D line this
well, I'm
year
not talking
like
about
that
that,
much.
but like I'm talking about like just because you said it works just if like no one uses the like if we're just playing a game and neither of us uses the D line, do they still learn?
Correct. Yeah, they no, they still learn. They still learn.
Okay, so yeah. But like if you're each person's D line's just getting through immediately in the first quarter, and then by the fourth quarter they're not
It'll be
at all.
harder for sure. Um, I think it's to prevent because there was another thing about this man. It was super sack heavy this year. I mean,
I
every
feel like it's
game,
sack heavy every year, but just because of the way nature of user play and but I definitely agree. The no no I actually do think this Madden was a little more sack heavy. I agree because of the abilities, or at
I
least some of the abilities.
I find myself getting sacked at least 5 times a game. If I don't get sacked five times in a game, it's a miracle, honestly, at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah. It's definitely at the beginning of the year, everyone was having 40 sack people. There were I'm pretty sure half the league had at least one person with 30 plus sacks after the first year. after the first season.
And it's ridiculous. He could win
Yeah.
MVP.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm pretty sure Demarcus Lawrence like led the league. Either Demarcus Lawrence or Myles Garrett had like 45 sacks or some shit.
Yeah, that's too much. That's way too many.
Yeah, I actually I'm pretty sure the entire history book, if you looked up on the Madden, would just be the 2019 season or 2019 and 2020 seasons, probably. That's ridiculous.
Look at that.
So hopefully that helps the pass blocking at least. The run blocking's another issue. I find it absolutely the least enjoyable feeling to run with a fullback in Madden. Running with a
Right.
fullback might might be the most aggravating but funny experience. Just because you just like sometimes you don't even look for the hole. You just watch your fullback, and he'll just sprint to the opposite side the run's going, or he'll lead you the way the run's going, and then run past the D lineman that beat your tackle and the linebacker, outside linebacker that he's supposed to block, and run to the safety. It's
I've definitely seen that so many times, and it's just so frustrating every single time it happens. It ruins the run. You're not
it
going anywhere
does.
if your fullback's not blocking. That's one man that is not accounted for, and that's all it takes to blow up the whole play. The thing I thought that was terrible about run blocking this year is how easy it is to get tripped up on your own O line. I mean, I could be running, I could be 5 yards away from my receiver that's blocking or something, and I could trip on him. I'm probably exaggerating, but the stick this year was definitely a lot different than any Madden before. Um,
Yeah, definitely getting
run blocking,
past Lyman was
yeah.
rough, to say the least.
I ultimately I think Madden 21's is if we're just talking about gameplay, I really feel like they took a step in the right direction this year. Um, but they Madden 21 really dug themselves a hole when they decided that the only feature they were going to add to franchise mode was the extra wild card spot, which is when you think about it, they have to add that. That was not a choice. That is what the NFL is doing. So when we sit here and say that they didn't add anything to franchise, we're being like literal. It's not an exaggeration. They added absolutely nothing to franchise. That is
Yeah.
super frustrating that we have to pay $60 for the same thing. It's
Well,
ridiculous.
in that regard, let's move from gameplay to just what would you like to see in franchise mode coming up?
We need a better. I think the number one thing we're lacking is a better scouting system.
Definitely.
I I cannot stress to you how annoying it is for me to scout and look for certain players, and like I don't feel like I'm getting anything out of drafts when I'm looking for rookies. I don't know specifically how they did in the combine. Like they'll give the statistics to what their 40-yard dash was, but I want to see, like I want to actually watch the combine. I want to see them run the 40-yard dash. I want to see the quarterbacks throw. I want to see it all. I think the scouting needs huge improvements. I think all of the offseason in general just needs a major improvement. There's it's franchise is so minimal with everything they do. There's no history. I think they lack history. I mean, I can't go back to the previous year and look at who won the Super Bowl or uh, who was the MVP. Like, I will never, if I advance the season, I won't remember unless if I wrote it down or something. So, those are two of the biggest things I think franchise mode is lacking.
Yeah. Did you see some of those screenshots from Twitter? they posted about the guy who just kind of like edited a
I didn't see it.
like scouting report. I think that is
I,
like the least they could do. Like that is the bare minimum of what we should have. It had it had everything. Well, it had everything they do at the combine, including like their spark score, their pro day, um, their bench, right? Fuck, I can't remember everything it had, but it was a really in-depth report at least. Another good thing they could have is like previous college season or like their stats from the college, so you can
right.
see if they played three if they're coming out as a junior, maybe they only played heavily as a junior and they had like two catches combined their first if they're like a receiver, two catches in their first two seasons. So they're kind of like a one-hit wonder,
Or
maybe.
you could even add, did they get injured in college? Can injuries play
Yeah, yeah,
a
yeah.
big factor into their NFL career? Like stuff like that too.
For sure. Yeah, yeah. And then but yeah, being able to see the combine would be great. I'm not sure quite how that would be able to work. If you could like um how are you thinking you would like be able to see the combine? Like just short videos?
Well, yeah, I know that's kind of a far fetched request, but I right, like I want to maybe if like I'm looking at a specific player, they'll have like a little option maybe where I could see like his combine highlight, and they'll show like a quick clip of him running a 40-yard dash or whatever. Like I ultimately just want to know who I'm drafting. Like I really want to know my rookie. I want to know if he's a hothead. I want to know if he has a better IQ than others. You know, like I want to know if he's a freak athlete. Just
Right.
they're missing they're missing the fun in what an off season is supposed to be. Well,
Right. The off season rightfully is and should be the most fun in franchise mode. The most fun part most fun you can
hands
have in
down.
franchise mode in Madden. It I agree. It needs way more depth. Franchise mode in general just needs more depth. And they decided everyone asks, right? They ask for more depth in players and more distinguishing factors. And they decided that how they're going to do that is just adding abilities. So I
They
wish I
did
wish they would add
experiment.
more like scenarios, right? If you like more like small stories. Maybe your players kind of like an Antonio Brown or something and has trouble with other players at practice or something. You know, he yells at the coaches. Uh, just small stories like that can really just make or break the depth of the game and like creating a difference between the players. Same thing for the draft class. Like was like maybe like this guy had to transfer because he got kicked out or I guess maybe not kicked out, but like he had to transfer colleges.
Right,
Um
like Newton transferred to
yeah,
Auburn
yeah,
for
yeah, like Cam
Ohio
Newton.
State.
Um
Um,
just adding more depth to all the players in the game. I like you said a hothead um if holdouts would be really cool. I mean,
right.
everyone would hate if it was just kind of like RNG happened to him, but that's the game. And plus, it's not exactly like an RNG thing. Like you would be able to see like your guy has a strong personality or and is like a hard negotiator or something. But nowadays holdouts are just like they're the standard at this point. If you're not giving your guy a new contract and he deserves it, like almost any player's gonna hold out now, like nowadays.
There is there is so much they could do with franchise that they should do. I think they should look back on some of their older games and try to bask in the glory that EA ultimately used to have. I mean, Madden back in 2007 or 2011, like those were great games, and it feels like once the transition was made from Xbox 360 to Xbox One, it's kind of like it's just been all about Ultimate Team, all about draft champions. They kind of just left this franchise mode in the dust, and I think I think I can speak for everybody when I say franchise mode is the heart and soul of not just Madden but any sports game. Realistically, I mean, what's NBA 2K without My League, or what's MLB
Thief.
The Show without a dynasty,
Yeah.
right? Like they're just
Who's playing FIFA for like the online play? Or I actually I guess a lot of people do play FUT. Or,
I
but yeah,
don't play, but
I don't even play FIFA, but but it's yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of like prominent YouTubers that play the ultimate teams of different
for sure.
games. But it's it'd be nice if they gave attention to franchise mode. And you're right.
But
You're right. Looked back on their old games. What they could add from those. Like everyone talks about uh the 2K game '05, and then '08 was another game that I didn't play these games, but I've heard that they have like the really like '08 had a really good
oh,
franchise mode.
you could customize your own teams. You could completely create a new team from scratch and make your stadium and make your. There was things like that for even your offline franchise players who just want to. I mean, the relocation system that they have is dumb. You can only relocate your team if the fans are unhappy or like the stadium's old or something like that. Like at least in 2K, you can just customize your team however you want, no matter what team you're on. It's just they what it comes down to is Ultimate Team makes the money and franchise mode doesn't make the money. And as long as as long as Ultimate Team continues to bring in the financial stability that it does and always will, I don't then EA probably doesn't find a reason to pay attention to a different mode. And that's what sucks is we need somebody up there who really has a passion for the game itself,
Right.
not just to fill up their pockets.
Exactly. I mean, another I had an idea, I guess. I I posted in chat. So like why not just create two separate games? Like create Madden Ultimate Team the game and franchise mode the game. Like but I
Sure.
like make us like we can still pay $60 for the franchise mode game, but uh and then you can incentivize even more players to like play MUT because you can make it free. It's not like the $60 makes or breaks MUT. It's the people with doing the microtransactions. So you can make that game completely free and then make the franchise mode game $60. And I think and if you separate the two games, maybe that would be able to allow the franchise people to really work on franchise instead of having to like allocate resources where they think seem fit. I don't know.
No, I absolutely agree. There needs to be change. It needs to be soon.
Yeah, the game is in a pretty dire state, but I think that's enough complaining about Madden so far.
We should probably
Yeah, move.
take
We,
a
we
little.
we can move on. So
Yeah.
let's start talking about the leagues. So as far as legacy, it's the last year of legacy. Um, it's the last year, so maybe not everyone's trying their hardest anymore. They're kind of over Madden. Maybe they're looking forward to taking a break. With that being said, the Trey is still like he might be undefeated. I didn't check, but
I'm looking at these standings right now, and Green Bay's 13-0.
yep.
They do play Jacksonville this week, and Jacksonville's they're the second best team as far as the power rankings go. So I mean, that should be a great game.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe
Um,
Alex can knock him off, but do you got a I mean the favorite has like you're kind of just trolling if you don't say Green Bay is the favorite
no,
to win the Super Bowl.
I'd definitely be lying if I sat here and said anybody else would be. I think somebody else would be the Super Bowl winner. Um, Obviously, I mean, you and I are both right there. We're both leading our divisions. You being 8-5, me being 7-6. Um, I don't. I really don't know what to say. I mean, it's the NFC is a juggernaut with, and Green Bay is the leader.
Yeah.
I've been rooting for Kush for quite some time now. I really want to see him at least get to a conference championship game. Um, I think Kush has a huge motivation with him right now with his YouTube channel and how much support he gets that I feel like even with it being this late in Madden, he is still trying his hardest and maybe that that motivation and that heart for his YouTube channel finds himself beating Trey in the playoffs and getting to the Super Bowl. Um, and it's crazy to me. I'm looking at the wild card teams and I'm seeing an 11-2 Washington Redskins team that has seemed virtually unstoppable this season. I'm looking at a 10-3 Detroit Lions team. And I mean the list just goes on. The NFC is ridiculous. It is the competition in the league in the conference is crazy.
Yeah. The I would say Kush probably has one of the best chances, if not the best chance, to knock off Green Bay. It only takes one game in the playoffs. I've seen I've seen multiple people in this league go 16-0. It doesn't matter. The playoffs come, they're off their game one game. They get knocked out by another good player. So it could definitely happen. Kush comes in, meets meets Green Bay in the championship game. Has to just plays very well. Trey plays off his game a little bit. He could easily go to Super Bowl.
I agree. He's got the squad to do it.
Definitely.
He's as far as the AFC goes, Jacksonville leads the AFC. I don't think has that happened before.
This is definitely the best he's done this Madden, I think. Uh, I yeah, I think he's only made the playoffs maybe like once before. He's I mean, he's normally one of the more competitive users in the AFC, but I don't think he's ever kind of popped off like this so far this Madden.
I mean, he's number one in the conference right now. I think he beat Oakland week 1. So as long as he continues to win out, obviously it'll be hard playing Trey this week, but if I mean he could go to the Super Bowl. He could beat Trey. He could beat whoever goes there. Denver's having his best season since season one. Obviously Oakland's always in the mix. Cleveland's always in the mix. I feel like Grady could probably, pull something out for this final playoff run. There's just so many different outcomes and possibilities. And I feel like we try to talk ourselves up, but the same thing ends up happening every single time.
It ends up being fucking Trey versus Lampard, but I don't know. Lampard seems a little bit off his game this year, at least. 3 losses is
he
more than usual for him, definitely at this point.
he he and I's actually talked about it, and he is super unmotivated this season.
I figured.
He's done with the game, and I don't blame him. I'd be done too. I would be if I was playing as much as you guys do.
uh, yeah, he's got Denver right behind him. He's got to he's got to make sure. I mean, yeah, if he's unmotivated, there's not much you can do about that. Everyone in the final season starts getting a little bit unmotivated, and it's
the reality is it's July.
yeah, the reality is July, and that's probably also part of the reason why I've won more games than usual, is I'm playing against some people that just aren't trying.
Exactly. Who do you think? Who do you think's the best division?
Well, see, there's different like classifications. I think you gotta say, because if we're talking about competitive wise, I think it has to be like the most competitive has to be the NFC East. But also, they just beat themselves up so much that that only one of them ends up going to the playoffs, or two of them. But it's definitely, but like none of them ever finished like worse than 7-9 or 8-8. So has it's got to be one of the most it's got to be the most competitive, I think. But and then you got the AFC West and the AFC or NFC North, I think. NFC
Yeah,
North, I think, is now because I think AFC West was definitely like at the maybe for the first 3 seasons they were like top at having like 3 like really good top members. They were probably the top division, but the NFC North, I think, because they've had Trey. I mean, obviously Trey just boosts would boost any division to being one of the best. And then you got Nick and the fucking Bears have taken the wild card spot like every practically every year. I'm pretty sure. And
he has a
now,
Super Bowl appearance too.
yeah. Oh yeah, he did go to the Super Bowl, didn't he? And then the Lions, he's 10-3 this year. He's got a better record than the Bears. So I think they got the I think I think the NFC North is the best division. NFC East most competitive. NFC North is the best division. They got the 3-time Super Bowl winner, I think, or
Yeah,
2-time at this point. Wait, he's won 3 now, right?
he's won two or three. I'm not positive on it.
uh,
Uh,
yeah, but they got the best player in the league. That we can just say that. Best player in the league. They got a guy who's been the top wild card in the NFC pretty much every year, and then now Solely, who's always been competitive, is 10-3 this year. I think they're the best division.
Tell you what, I couldn't imagine being 9-4 and being placed third in my division on the glimpse of missing the playoffs. I mean, I definitely I could speak for both of us when I say I'm really glad that I'm not part of a division crazy, where I have to win 11, 12 games just to pray that I make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Um, and I agree with you. As far as divisions go, NFC East is. I definitely haven't seen a single team in that division finish under 500 yet. As far as the Kush videos go, I think that division's always it's always a battle for who's going to win it. It's a different winner every year. Philly sometimes wins it. Washington will win it. The Giants will win it. Like it's always just they're always beating themselves up. Exactly what you said.
Yeah.
To the point where it kind of wears off into the playoffs. And the NFC North definitely is the best division just because of the success that Trey has brought to that division, and you have Nick's one Super Bowl appearance. It's just yeah, NFC North is absolutely the best division, hands down.
Yeah, it definitely says a lot when your worst player in the division is 7-6 with Cowboys. Like the NFC North just or the NFC East is that'd be such a rough division to be in. 6 games a year you have to just
Play
bring
your
it.
hardest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um anyway, let's switch to Pandora. Oh, do you have an answer for new toughest newcomer? I can cut this out if we don't put this in. But
Uh, I just no, I don't have an answer. I really like. I have to be biased. I'm not going to sit here and butter myself up on a podcast. I don't think I'm that great, but I do think I'm probably the best one. If I have to be like honest, I'm
all right.
sorry.
I'm just go- I'm gonna go on a little bit of tangent, and then I think I'll probably say I'll probably talk say you're probably the best, or you're definitely the best addition to Pandora probably so far, most active out of
Well,
people that
thank you.
weren't already in Legacy. Um, and then I think probably just well, we've already talked about abilities for a little bit. Do you
Was
have
that
anything else you want to talk about in Pandora?
um? I
I mean,
will
I
say
mean,
it's
we can talk about who can win in there, but it's probably just talk about Trey again.
Baltimore will probably win it again. Um, I'll go on record and say this. I think um I've only been in the league for maybe like a couple months now. Like I only played the one season of Pandora and I'm finishing the season of Legacy and that's it. And I think for a league like MSPA to be wanting to take the steps to be the biggest league on Madden, I think adding Pandora was it was a great move. It was a huge success. I think I having the abilities out of Pandora, I think was also a great move because it gives not only the viewers but it gives the players a variety of what they're dealing with. Um, I think it was a great move by MSPA in general. I think they should continue to keep Pandora in, which I assume is the plan. Um, I'm excited for the growth of this league. It was hands down phenomenal. I loved it.
For sure. Yeah, I despite not joining Pandora, I think it was a great move to open it up because apparently there was a ton of people that wanted in. A lot of people who would like just a second MSPA because they have a second league and they're just like, well, the second league kind of sucks, doesn't it? Right? Um, I think. I'll be honest. The part of the reason why I wouldn't join Pandora is because I wouldn't want to like be the playtester against a lot of like new players that come in maybe and they're not the simmest. Uh, Not that everyone is a simmist, but I don't know. I wouldn't want to. I don't feel like putting myself through that. I don't know why. Maybe that's selfish, but I think it's good because it's been a revolving door for all the newcomers so far. But for every two people that come in, two people that replace someone who had to leave, hopefully one will stick, and then they're a good member, and then eventually every team will get a good member that sticks, just like MSPA. So it's it'll be good. I think it's a great that's just it's practically just MSPA 2, but you get to a choice of abilities on versus off. But yeah, I haven't really talked to many of the newcomers, besides yourself, I guess. Um, from my knowledge, you're the only one that's made the playoffs, so we gotta say you're the best newcomer, huh?
I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but um, I guess so. Um, there are a lot of no. There, I don't want to say that though. Like, there's a lot of good newcomers. I was watching, what's his name, the Patriots. And I'm actually playing him next. He's not the Patriots. He's the Giants. Excuse me, in Pandora.
The Glatris
He's a,
dude, or maybe I'm saying it wrong.
his name's Noggin Happy.
Oh, him. I thought
Right.
he was I thought they were never mind. You're
He's
yeah.
the Patriots in Legacy. He's the Giants in Pandora. That's what I was getting confused about.
So is the Glatris guy that Glatris is New England
Yeah,
then.
he's
Okay,
New
that's
England.
where I was getting confused.
And I haven't watched him play, so I don't know anything about him really. But there's a lot of potential in the newcomers. I think the thing about the newcomers is they don't necessarily understand everything that's going on per se. They're new to it. They're learning. So if we were to sit here and rank the newcomers, I think we should at least wait for a couple more seasons until they fully processed how everything works, I guess. Because I
Right.
even for myself, like I'm still learning how to properly offer a contract to a free agent. Like, this is a completely whole new system to me, and I struggled at first, but I'm starting to pick it up. So I will say that.
Right. I was actually thinking back and uh didn't the I thought I checked the Pandora rankings last season and I thought Cincinnati went like 11-5 or something. I thought I saw, or
Well,
maybe that wasn't good enough for the playoffs. He is in the division with Trey, but
he made the playoffs, but he joined week 17.
oh,
So whoever was there before had
okay.
left, and this guy joined.
I saw he was new. I saw he was new. Okay,
Yeah, and he actually his first game was against Grady, and he beat Grady. So it definitely. He actually no, he did make the playoffs. He beat Nick in the wild card round.
did he?
Yeah, I watched that game. He ended up pulling. It was a very good game, and he pulled it out in the end. It was against Tennessee. He beat Tennessee, and then he ended up losing to I think it was Baltimore. I think he lost to Trey in the divisional round.
Right. Yeah.
Shocker.
Shocker.
Yeah, definitely a lot of potential.
Yeah. So that's that's all we have to talk about right now for MSPA. But we thought it'd be cool if we also talked about real football, right? Um,
Yeah, talk about the
right,
NFL.
real football a little bit. Um, Feel free to let us know any cool topics you can think of for us to talk about. But
I I think we should actually. I didn't mention this earlier, but I think we should probably ask the big question: will we have a season?
yeah, no, okay, yeah, I was actually thinking about that too. No, man, that's rough. Cause you know every football fan wants football to come back, and I guess I can't go or I can't talk about whether I think it should come back. We should say, well, I guess I can say, do I think it should come back? Probably not. Probably not safe for it to come back.
No,
But
it wouldn't be safe.
will it come back with how stubborn Americans are and all the owners and I don't think I think it'll come back. I don't think there's a way that they'll let it not come back. At
If it,
least at first. And if like if we play if they start doing training camp and then they play 2 games and people across and then players across the league start contracting it, there's you can't play. I mean, they'll shut it down, but I don't. I think it's shitty that they would have to do that.
I
But yeah, I think they'll at least start.
Yeah, they'll definitely. I think they'll the preseason will kind of be the test for how it'll go. Um, I don't think football should be played this year. If I'm being honest with you, I think this coronavirus is a lot more serious than it's given credit for. Um, I know people are very aware about it, but it's not a joke. I think, however, I do believe football will come back regardless of this virus, and I think they need to not allow fans to watch the game at the stadiums. Um, I think they need to do as much as they can social distancing. Obviously, football, it's impossible to social distance physical game, but it's really hard for me to sit here and talk about if we should have a season, which is ironic because I brought up the topic. But um, I guess I'm sad as a fan that we have to sit here and ask this question and be honest with ourselves about something something like this. Um, I don't even think the NBA should come back. Um, even though they were ready to go to the into the playoffs, I safe. I think it's smart.
Are
But
they
I
allowing
understand.
baseball? I don't
No,
watch baseball
basketball,
at all. So,
basketball, NBA.
well, no. But what about baseball? Is baseball like just in like their off season right now?
Well, right, but they're supposed to start
When do they start?
this
Yeah.
month actually.
Oh, they start this month. So they are
They're
starting.
supposed to. Yeah,
At least in baseball, it's sort of. It seems like they. I mean, they're practically social distanced on the field,
I get. Sure.
but but they still have to do like
um,
practice and then be in the same like dugout. So, I mean,
the 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 thing about baseball is they almost have to come back with how bad the MLB has struggled in recent years with um earning money. Uh, they don't have the convenience or the opportunity like the NBA or the NFL does, where they've been the premier entertainment in sports for, I would say, over a decade now,
right.
probably a couple decades. I mean, baseball hasn't really been, I shouldn't say relevant, but it hasn't been the top dog since, I mean, definitely since I've been alive.
Right, yeah. No, I find baseball unbelievably boring. Unbelievably boring. I don't I don't watch
Maybe that's some sense.
any other sport than football, really. I used to play lacrosse and I would occasionally watch lacrosse on TV, like college lacrosse. But I don't know. But I yeah, I don't watch any other sport. It's every other sport just seems pretty boring. I mean, I could probably get into NBA if I watched it, but I don't really enjoy NBA that much either.
Sure. I mean, you should. I love basketball just as much as I love football.
I guess I could probably I could probably get into like e-gaming more. If now now that football's gone, or well, okay, I guess it's not gone, but if things aren't allowed to start up, then I would assume I could get into e-gaming more because I play I play League of Legends. Have you heard of that?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. The and there is a huge esports scene on that. So, but I don't really
I used
watch
to
it
play
'cause
League of Legends.
really, yeah, yeah. It's the esports scene on that is ginormous and it's still growing, and they can still play because they're gamers.
I I will say if um if for whatever reason that football doesn't happen this year, I think for a league like MSPA, it'll be. I mean, it's not good news to anybody that football will be canceled, but it could be good news as far as pulling in viewers that MSPA
Right.
could really use their platform and entertain people who are just so hungry and really want to watch any type of sport. I know I do. I know I've been the moment I heard that all these sports were getting canceled, so upset and just like sports is my life. I grew up watching it, breathing it, loving it. I mean I can't tell you how bad it's been for me for these past few months just not having anything to watch but listen to our country crumble in front of our own eyes. I I just can't wait for society to be back to what it was before it needs to be. This year has put everything into perspective, how important everything is to every.
For sure. This year it's been pretty pretty rough.
I,
Pretty
I didn't
rough.
mean to go off topic there. I just that's how I feel.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people's pastimes are just sports. That's it. They go to their bar with their friends to watch the game. Now are they just gonna go to the bar with their friends and not have something to watch and not have something to talk about? Like,
Shoot.
are they not like now they can't even invite their friends over because of social distancing? But even if they could, they're what are they gonna talk about? Their only interest sports was like is now it's gone. But
Yeah, it's just so unfortunate. It's been it just sad, I guess. Um, I mean, you want to talk about like what you have written down?
yeah,
You want to talk about okay.
yeah. Maybe. Okay. Let's theoretically talk about if football comes back. Okay. Would you rather have an elite pass rusher or an elite quarterback? Which one do you think is more important? Because this seems to be actually be a pretty hot topic. Some people think having an elite cornerback is more important than elite pass rusher. Um, although elite pass rushers for a while now are have definitely been more prioritized. So I want to know what you think.
Pass rushing, I definitely agree, has been a huge part of um, football recently. I think the NFL has become more of a defensive league. Um, Although the offense has huge advantages every single down. Um, as far as having a more elite pass rusher or elite cornerback, that's a really hard question to answer. But if I had to be honest with you, I think I would rather have an elite corner than an elite pass rusher. And the reason I say that is because no matter how good of a pass rusher you are, you don't see Von Miller sacking quarterbacks 5 or 6 times a game like you would in Madden. You know, I think um I think no matter how good of a pass rusher you are, a cornerback will have a bigger impact on a play. Or how do I want to word this? A cornerback will have a higher percentage of making an impact on a play more than a pass rusher will, if that makes sense. I think I just I that's such a hard topic to answer. They're both such important pieces of your defense, but
Right.
I think I would rather have a Jalen Ramsey than a Von Miller.
Okay. Well, I disagree. I think I think to your point, how you're saying it takes like a percentage of like the offense's um resources. I think having an elite pass rusher that you have to count for every single play, pretty much, is accounts for more resources because you have to think about not only doubling him, maybe with the guard and tackle, or the guard and center if it's Aaron Donald, um, or
Right.
chip blocking him, like, and it seems like there's all these options, but an elite, well, okay, both of them shut down options. Let's just say that. But even okay, the thing is for me with an elite cornerback, even they'll have to go against elite receivers, and elite receivers will still win sometimes against elite cornerbacks because there's no. And in general, I think that cornerback talent in the NFL is weaker than receiver talent. So sometimes your elite cornerback will just get burnt by one of the best one of the
Right.
best receivers in the league. Which you could say, well, there's elite tackles and elite guards and stuff, so your elite pass rusher might not do much. But elite pass rushers, but okay, there's more elite pass rushing talent than elite O line talent, I think, in the league. So that's why I think it's more important because on even against the best tackles, they're gonna have to chip you with tight ends, running backs, double team the pass rusher. They're still gonna allocate every resource they can to Khalil Mack. And so now their tight end, now their running back can't leak out without having to block or chip Von Miller, Khalil Mack right off the snap. They can't get a clean release on their route. They have to do something about him every single play. And I think that's just a little bit more valuable than having an elite cornerback that m- may shut down one side of the field, but like there's still more options.
There's
I
definitely
feel
its
like
negatives.
there's more options to work around an elite cornerback than an elite pass rusher. And the workarounds for an elite pass rusher cost more resources than working around an elite cornerback.
Okay. I'm actually gonna use your same point when you were talking about how tight ends start chipping pass rushers. That in its own way is a gift and a curse at the same time because here's the thing, you could double team a pass rusher using your offensive line, an elite pass rusher, and as long as he's not getting passed, like you've ultimately reached your goal in stopping that elite pass rusher. However, you are using an extra piece of your offense to hold them, like keep them in check, I guess. With a cornerback, what can you really do to stop them per se? Because if the team that you're facing runs man to man, I mean, they're obviously going to put Jalen Ramsey on Julio Jones or DeAndre Hopkins every single time. Whereas to us, if it was in a zone, you know, obviously you'll be facing different defenders. I guess my point is it's easier to stop a pass rush attack versus trying to pass your way through a shutdown corner. I guess if that makes sense.
Yeah, I I think in a well, okay, because just having an elite pass rusher on the field opens up everything for your other down linemen and any blitzes because they have to. Because if you think about it, if the team's worried, if you have a your elite Khalil Mack on the right tackle over the right tackle, and they're worried about double teaming him, and then you blitz from the left side, then they're moving two pieces to the right side to stop Khalil Mack, and then your blitz has a much higher chance of getting through on the left side. But so I think that's whether he gets blocked or not, he's helping the other pieces on the D line and the other pieces of the pass rush. But I think also, and with cornerback, like you're right, he'll be on a guy and he'll probably lock him down more than not. But he doesn't help in the run game at all. But which I mean, I guess you could say about a pass rusher too. Maybe the pass rusher's not the best against the run, kind of like Von Miller. He's not the best against the run, but I mean, most pass rushers tend to be also pretty good against the run, or at least they have. Whether it's Von Miller and he's not very good against the run or not, he's still gonna have very more impact against the run than a cornerback. Like the cornerback is worried about his receiver, and he's not gonna. And that's one way to like neutralize an elite cornerback. If you're running the ball, you're not throwing at him. And
Right.
also, most people just standard nowadays run at least three receivers on the field, plus like a tight end and a running back that nowadays has to be able to catch the ball. There, that's what, four other receivers on the field that you can throw
Four.
to
Yeah.
away
Yeah.
from the corner. Like if you wanted to, you could just send that if they're playing man to man, just send the fucking receiver that he's on a streak. Just send him away. Send him away and run routes underneath him. Like I feel like a pass rusher just on a down to down basis has more impact. But
I
I
mean, I
guess
think we can both agree that they're both very important pieces
yeah,
of the
yeah,
defense.
definitely. If you want to have an elite defense, you have to have good corners, good safeties, good linebackers, good D linemen, like and elite people at each level.
That's a good question. I think it could definitely go both ways. I mean we've seen some defensive juggernauts win Super Bowls. Denver in 2016, I think it was.
Yeah,
Seattle, their Legion of Boom. That was an amazing defense right there, and that was probably more secondary than it was on the front line
agreed.
with Sherman Thomas and Cam Chancellor, and obviously had Wagner up there, and it's just we've seen all the defensive juggernauts that we've seen. They've definitely had a mix of both elite pass rushers and elite cornerbacks. So
Definitely. If you want to have an elite defense, you have to have a variety of elite players on the defense. But one point I will make is actually the Seattle defense, although it was like very good with all those players, at the beginning, uh, it didn't become like really elite until we invested in some pass rushers. Because we were like still bottom of the league in like
yeah,
sacks
absolutely.
and everything. And even though we were still a very good defense, it didn't become the Legion of Boom until we were able to also pass rush when Bruce Irvin, Chris Clemens, fucking we kind of had some no names at there, but they were effective because of the coverage, which kind of seems like it's playing into your point, but also like before we had
That
any good any like half decent pass rushers, like the secondary is still gonna struggle. If you can't get there in 4 seconds, there's gonna be someone open. Whether you have an elite like two elite corners, two elite safeties or not, like someone's gonna get open in 4 or 5 seconds. So
that's a good
yeah,
question. I like that question.
definitely. um, I actually kind of like this question. Um, how many players on your team are S tier on your favorite team? So you wanna talk
Like
about the
superstar
Browns?
team. Um, I mean, I think there's a lot of players on the Browns that are definitely superstar tier. I think if Myles Garrett doesn't act out again, be top defensive end in the league. I think Odell Beckham. I think Odell will be back to what he was before in this season. The major issue with Cleveland last year was our offensive line was horrible. I mean, a lot of people want to talk about how bad Baker was, um, and how much he regressed from his rookie season. But I mean, if you watched the Cleveland Browns games, he was running for his life half the game,
Yeah,
and you know we could as far as the Browns go, if we can have all these flashy pieces and have Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, or Austin Hooper, we can have these guys, and it won't mean anything if our offensive line doesn't block. I think the Browns are probably one of the most talented teams, if not the most talented in the NFL, and we're just piece away and a coaching staff away from really putting it together and finally making the playoffs for once. It is so frustrating being a Browns fan. Um, it's back to the question though: how many players on our team is superstar tier? Well, we got Beckham. We got. I think Landry could be a superstar. I think Nick Chubb is absolutely a superstar. Um, I haven't seen Kareem Hunt lose a step. I mean, once he came back into the offense last season, he was a huge impact, and people will overlook that because of how poorly we played at the end of this, or just in the season in general. Um, this offense is so talented, and you look at our defensive side. We got Mike Garrett, um, Denzel Ward's coming back. Greedy Williams is going to be in his sophomore season. I, we have so much talent, and I I I don't know. I really hope that the coaching staff that we brought in this year knows what they're doing and really pulls his team together.
yeah. Classic Browns fan, man. You're so optimistic about your entire team, man. I mean, you're like you're cautiously optimistic, but you're like, yeah, my entire team's S tier. So
Right.
every starter is an S tier player. We're just unlucky. Got bad coaching staff. Maybe this one work out, and then when we fire them this year, maybe next year will work out.
Seattle's good. I, you call me crazy. I actually have them in the Super Bowl this year against Kansas City if the season happens.
Seattle?
Yeah, I think they can make the Super Bowl. I really do.
I have gripes. I have gripes with the team. I think we are wasting Russell Wilson. Like, I think Russell Wilson has is and has been a top 3 quarterback for the past 5 seasons. And we have been wasting his potential by trying to relive the 2012 to 2014 glory days of our run game. And when, like, our offensive coordinators are so bad, and Pete Carroll only hires ones that will run the offense that way. But it's, yeah. But I would put, like, Russell Wilson is S tier of S tier. So, S tier of S tier. I, Chris Carson's really good, but I wouldn't put him in S tier. He's not like, he's a, he's not a game changing running back. He's gonna fight. He is so fun to watch. I wouldn't put him in S tier of running backs, and I really hope we don't pay him after this year. It's just so that's actually another topic we should get into maybe next time. Uh,
And running backs.
Paying running backs, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Um, I really like Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, but I wouldn't say either of them are S tier. You know, like both of them are really good, and I think they're a super good receiving combo. Uh, Tyler Lockett to Russell Wilson to Tyler Lockett is like has been one of the highest uh passer rating combos in the league for the past 2 years. Um, but I wouldn't say either of them are like game changing S tier. On the defensive side, Bobby Wagner is also S tier. He's S tier.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Best linebacker in the NFL. You can at me all you want. Best linebacker.
I'll have to disagree
I've
with you on that, but sure.
I've seen I actually I was watching this video by this one guy who analyzes football players, and he was talking about Luke Kuechly retiring, and as soon as he said like Luke Kuechly is one of the best linebackers in the NFL, he had to he came in and he was like, yes, I know, Seahawks fans. I know I didn't mention Bobby Wagner because every time anyone mentions top linebackers, they feel like they're disrespecting Bobby Wagner because no one talks about him. But even though he does get talked about a decent amount now,
He's an amazing talent.
yeah. But
Absolutely.
I would say we only have one S tier on each side of the ball, and then we got. I think we have like a bunch of A and B tiers. We have a ton of A and B tiers. Like Shaquille Griffin, I would put Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf in A tier. Shaquille Griffin's like he's one of those corners I thought could turn into like an elite corner, but he's more like he'll still get torched by the Julio Jones and Devonte Adams and DeAndre Hopkins of the world, but he'll also lock down your number two. So, um, yeah, and then fuck, our D line has been bad for ages. Jesus Christ. Tedrick Thompson and Marquise Blair are actually a pretty good safety combo now. We got Dwayne Brown on the offensive line. Yeah, we have a bunch of A tiers, but it's having an S tier of S tier quarterbacks that really puts your group of A and B tier players over the top.
I think I exaggerated myself when I said I think Seattle will go to the Super Bowl. What I meant to say is they're definitely capable of doing it.
Yes.
And that, with that being said, that has to be done where to the point where Russell Wilson needs help. I mean, it almost feels like Russell Wilson is turning into um, kind of having a similar career to Aaron Rodgers, where I mean Green Bay has wasted Aaron Rodgers' career. One Super Bowl should not
100%.
justify a generational talent that is Aaron Rodgers. And I mean, if he had the coaching staff that Brady had, or the coaching, just a great coach behind him, because Mike McCarthy was not a great coach. He was okay. He wasn't. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has carried his team, and I feel like that's what Russell Wilson has been doing for quite some time now. I mean, I watched this man day in, day out create plays for the team. I'm as a Browns fan, Seattle beat us earlier this year, and a lot of that was watching this man roll out of the pocket and make precise passes on the run, get these small 5 to 6 yard gains. Just the little things that Russell Wilson does kills a defense. They have these long, lengthy, grimy drives. I just really feel like if Seattle puts some talent around Russell Wilson on the offensive side of the ball, they'll really um, get themselves going there.
Yeah. That's one thing uh that's one thing the Patriots always did. They always had an offensive line that was capable, at least. Like maybe
Right.
they never had like standout talents at every single position, but they always had at least a few linemen that were like they're really good. Or they're really good and their five are capable of making a random player against the Colts have a 200-yard game and Tom Brady to like get I mean Tom Brady throws the ball fast anyways, but like he never he still like never got sacked. Like I wish like okay, I just wish they would let Russell Wilson be like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning and get the ball out fast. But they don't design plays like that, and they don't let him control the line as much. And
Yeah,
it's
but
annoying to watch.
with
He's
that
like
being
like he's
said,
not the same player. I get like so they don't need to be in the same offense, right? But
it's it's like that because of his athleticism.
right,
I
right. They try to utilize his athleticism, but I think it hurts them more. Like they should be utilizing his athleticism in the fact that if a play breaks down, he can make a play out of what should be a sack or a throwaway, or turn a sack into a throwaway if it was like if it was
sure.
any other player. But like I don't know, they like we. It's so frustrating to watch us come out run like the entire first half, just run the ball twice, then or come out and first down with one receiver on the field and do a deep play action play with two receivers in the pattern and nothing gets open and he has to run around for 5 seconds and then get sacked for a 12-yard loss. Like it's the most frustrating thing to not just see us go into the gun for 90% of the game. And that's what I try to I unleash all my frustrations in Madden and just I'm in the gun 90% of the game. I hate being under center. I hate having to do a 7-step drop back. I think it's inefficient to ever not just be in the gun pretty much.
I think something that would really help that would be coming out in a lot more pistol formations as well. 'Cause you could
Yeah.
do a lot with pistol versus being under center. So I see your point there. Maybe pull out something like a Baltimore Ravens playbook, or what they do with Jackson maybe, or something like that. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I don't I don't want to see us doing like, a ton of design runs like Lamar 'Cause he's not.
Sure,
I mean, he's a dynamic runner, but not like a Lamar runner.
sure.
And he's far enough into his career that I don't want to see him get injured. So it's like I would rather
This is
just see him.
definitely his prime. These are his prime years. What, 29 years old? I think.
I think
Is
he's
that old?
30 or 31 now.
30.
I think he's 30.
He's 30. Oh, he's 31. My bad. So
He
he's,
is, yeah.
yeah. So mid prime.
Prime, but the years that I start thinking he shouldn't run. He shouldn't run or at least just not designed runs all the time. Like if you're trying to be sneaky and do a read option twice a game, sure. If he
Sure.
like a fake bootleg rollout, yes. But like let him just use his legs to extend plays and scramble, I guess, is what I would prefer.
Sure. Absolutely.
Which is what we mostly do now. That's not. I don't really have a gripe with that. I just think we are under center like 90% of the game, and we should be in the gun 90% of the game. But yeah. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Um. No, we should probably wrap this
Yeah,
up.
it's getting
It's
a
been
little
a
bit long. Um, yeah. So thanks for listening. Let us know how we did, how we can improve it. And give us topics for future podcasts, and we'll
And don't
get
be
to it.
easy on the feedback either.
Right.
Any criticism is helpful to us. We want to we're doing this for you guys as well. So be harsh if you have to. I don't care. I I want to make this podcast. We want to make this podcast as enjoyable as possible.